my goodness, this nigga's still talking.
Yo, I'm back, my niggas, my non-niggas, my niggas, my non-niggas, boys and girls, people of all ages. I'm back. Maybe we'll see. All right, welcome to Just Talking. This is a podcast where niggas just be talking. I think I covered all my bases, right? Right. Am I right? I think I'm right. Yeah, I'm right. Covered all the bases. All right. Now, I've been gone for a while. I have made a like I did come back for a little bit. Then I came, and then I went again. I was like, I dropped like 2 episodes. I want to say August or September, within the. But I couldn't keep it consistent. I wasn't pushing Pete. Dog, the funniest thing about like pushing Pete is that like or I don't know if it was even real, but I saw some on Urban Dictionary and it was like pushing P is what people say when they're selling penis. And it's not even like prostitution. They're legitimately cutting off people's penises and reselling it like it's a kidney, I guess. Because you know how niggas be selling kidneys, right? You need a drink, you got a drink. You need a penis, you got a penis. No more micros. That's how the big money folks be doing it when they got micros, Donald Trump, he got small hands, he had a small wiener. He found someone who was pushing Pete, and now he ain't been cleaner, you feel me? That's that nigga for real. But yeah. Admittedly, I don't know where or not we'll be back for real. This is dropping on a Saturday, right? It's dropping someday, my nigga. However, we will be going back to our regularly scheduled programs on a Monday drop. Maybe a little bit of a 30-minute episode here and there on Thursdays. But don't put me to it, all right? I've been through a lot recently. And I don't know. Because one of the things that has really kept me from it, well, yeah, I already knew. I moved, couldn't really have a good setup that I liked to do in the beginning. My microphone, the one that I majoritarily use when recording these podcasts, excuse me, the one that I used majority of the podcast, broke during the move in. It was a microphone off Wish, and I had gotten it from as a gift, so can't say much. But it was like I really enjoyed it because when I first started the podcast, I had a mic stand that was also given to me as a gift, or kind of, and it was kind of fucked up. It was a little bit broken and everything. So as I continued with the podcast, I started just taking the mic off the mic stand and holding it in my hand. Kenny for real, Kenny Beecham, King of the Fourth Quarter on YouTube. That nigga, he be holding the microphone in his hand a lot. I started liking doing it too. Made me feel a little bit more comfortable. Felt like I could do a little bit more stuff. You feel me? And when it broke, I went back to using my headset like I did when I first started the podcast. I want to say, or what I would do whenever I didn't really record at home. And it wasn't really the same, you feel me? So that was also one of the things. But you move on, you keep going. I think I'm gonna end up getting one but a time this year, this new year of 2022 ends. We're gonna see. I plan to be doing a little bit more stuff as this year wanes forward or goes forward. Would it be waning? Well, it wouldn't be waxing because then that mean the year is growing, you feel me? And the year don't do that. So it's waning, bro, you feel me? Just a little slight slow wane, you feel me? It's coming. It's going down. It's going down. But, we're here. We're about it. let's get this joint started right now. Also, we're gonna start bringing people in again. That was also the other thing. Every time I had planned to come back, shit happened. I won't lie. First time was my fault. All right. Just put that out there. All right. I was going to have some female guests on this podcast. I was gonna have some female guests, and we gonna start debating, like those British YouTubers, bruh. You feel me? Just the smaller aspects of things, though, because I have always maintained my position on this. Doesn't matter if you're female. Doesn't matter if you're male. For the most part, a large amount of people do things for themselves and end up being selfish in that sense. And because of people's selfishness, it ends up leading into people doing things that can be bad, things that can be not like maybe in the middle of the spectrum, but less things that are good happen because of that. And that's just inherent human nature. I do it, you do it. We're just people. You feel me? We just people. So I was all like, if a woman ran the world or a man ran the world, it would still be hell. It's still what it is. You feel me? Some religions think that living your life on earth already is hell. Like that's what hell is, and then you go up to a greater thing, but to a greater power. So you just gotta get it where you get it, man. You feel me? I don't know what that like. Does that mean that the people who are just bad get reincarnated until they become good? I don't know. However, we can just say that we're here now and we're doing what we can. All right. Now, I did record a New Year's episode, but that shit not coming out. All right. I'm dropping it. I'm cutting it up, saying no. Y'all niggas not getting it. All right. It was going to be titled New Year, Same Nigga. All right. Because I'm still me. But honestly, I do think that I'm making a little bit of lifestyle changes within this new year. Obviously, it's still gonna be the same nigga at the end of the day, but hopefully it's a nigga with abs. We go out in the summer, we're showing off a little bit. No more shirts in the pool. No more shirts in the pool. Oh, jeez. But yeah, I am going to be cutting. That's my plan. I plan to be cutting. I don't think I'm gonna be cutting super low. I think the lowest I'm going is be like 16% body fat, between that range. I feel as though at that point, as long as I'm staying true to our resistant training regimen, I can still have ab show without being under 15, like some people say that you should be or prefer to be. But yeah, a lot of things have happened since we've been gone. I believe I talked about the Russ trade. If I didn't, my position, I put it on my Twitter. My position is this: when they made the trade, bad fit. Don't think anybody argued that. I said I could see them making it work. Obviously, AD has to play more 5. LeBron plays more of the 4. Russ would need to. My thing is this: Russ needs to exclusively shoot threes from the corners. Even then, he's not that good. But as a career, I think he's pretty solid. Like as solid as a bad shooter could be from the corners. You feel me? So I think if he's going to be shooting threes, he should be doing it exclusively from the corners. Obviously, if the shot clock is already going down and you find the ball in your hand, you have to shoot it. Go ahead, and you're not in the corner. But other than that, I made a tweet like maybe a month into the season, and I was all like, at the end of the day, Russ always turns up later in the season. LeBron got his little playoff mode, playoff LeBron, that he ends up turning up to later in the season. And at the time, he was like in and out of the lineup plenty. Um, the only real concern was AD, in the sense of like we knew what Russ was gonna be. I feel as though there are times where Russ can play better. I think they need to push him more into an off-ball role. I'm not going to be talking about NBA this entire time. Just bear with me. I'm going to also turn it to the NFL. Yeah, we're NFL channel now. NFL, let's know. Football, football, football. But yeah, nah. I think AD needs to average 26 point blank period. LeBron 24. All right, how he's been playing right now is great. However, he's putting a lot into the offensive end. Even when he is making the defensive plays, it's like he's not really guarding. He's just trying to erase mistakes, obvious mistakes sometimes, and that's where you'll see some of his chase down blocks and everything this year. It was just erasing obvious mistakes, whether he made it for letting someone even get past him or a different person on the team made it, and that's why he's filling in that center role, because although he's not the best paint defender. I found someone explained it really well. There's like a paint defenders and then rim defenders. Rim defenders would be the people that you're going to be seeing getting a lot more blocks, like a Hassan Whiteside. Paint defenders is someone who I would who I'd label Jokic more of, who just he has a presence and he makes it harder for people to get and score into the paint just because he's very long and he's getting correct positioning, making sure of that. So I feel as though like he's more of a paint defender, and then with his athleticism, it aids him in being a good enough rim defender. However, I would prefer him to be a little bit better on ball. Sometimes his rotations are fairly slow, and I don't blame him because he's possibly the only person like doing defense while also being the main contributor, if not the only contributor in some games on offense. I think the best role for those three to play together would be you would have AD on the elbow sometimes. You would have LeBron, like, and this is just the overall thing. You would have AD start off at the elbow. You would have LeBron, you would have Russ start off in the corner. I don't want him to always have the ball. I think that in transition, I think that you should automatically be trying to hit the ball to Russ as soon as possible, whether he's running straight ahead or he's just starting the ball off with him. You have AD or LeBron running down to be a lob target or just a part of the fast break as well, and you continue on like that. But for their half court offense, I would definitely say you would have AD start off at the elbow, Russ in the corner. Now, Russ needs to be, or Russ at the elbow, AD in the corner. I think either one of those could work. What you would need then is that you would need Russ to develop as a cutter and AD to develop as a roller a little bit more. And not to say AD is not a good roller, but I feel as though sometimes he settles too much and too easily. Also, I think that Russ needs to set a little bit more off-ball screens for the shooters because like they don't have a lot of good shooters. I think Malik Monk has been pretty good. Austin Reeves, AR-15, he's been solid. Other than that, Carmelo's pretty streaky, so I wouldn't consider him to be like someone who's always doing the best, especially since he's also not that good on defense. I don't think that they'll be able to win this year. I think that there is still potential with rest on in the lineup next year for them to do well. They're just gonna need to find some actual 3-and-D players because I don't think they really have any good ones. They have three people who can shoot threes. They have some people who can play defense, and that's about it. They don't really have players that are excelling in their role. They don't have players that are good in two ways. The only two-way player that they have right now is Anthony Davis. And I'm not even saying like great two-way. I'm just saying two-way. Someone who plays defense and someone who isn't a negative on offense, or someone who plays offense and someone who isn't a negative on defense. Like that's the issue. It's either one or the other. Avery Bradley isn't as good as he used to be. That's why he got cut from the Warriors. It's like Lakers literally picking up scraps. Like the fact that they have the same record as the Clippers right now. Clippers have been missing Paul George for a while. They haven't had Kawhi all season. Even if you say AD's been injured or LeBron at the beginning of the year was a little bit in and out the lineup, I don't think that's good enough excuse to have the same record as the Clippers. I feel as though AD playing off the elbow, that gives him two possibilities. One, he can do a pick and roll with LeBron, or there's few times where Russ has it, he can do a pick and roll with Russ. I think when Russ has it, I think AD is going to need to pop a bit more. When LeBron has it, AD's still going to need to pop a little bit, but I think that there will be options for him to roll a bit more with LeBron rather than with Russ. But I think that Russ going downhill after an AD screen should be good enough to where AD should have the space when he does pop. I think Russ just needs to be better around the rim. I think that his athleticism has left him a bit, so he can't really pull off as explosive plays as he used to. And that may be a problem because I don't think he has, like, for example, he doesn't have touch as well as touch under the rim because he mostly relied on his explosiveness getting to the rim. Like you see the Kyrie's, even the LeBron, like people who are able to finish under the rim and do it at an elite level. I don't think Russ has ever really developed that, which is why you're starting to see now that he's like having to be under the rim and he's also getting he's losing that extra step that he would have on people, so he would have clearer and cleaner layups. It's not really there. But I think that's enough about the Lakers. That was just a little thing that I wanted to say. Overall, I think the Lakers can be a contender next year. I don't think they will this year. The trade deadline is kind of coming up. I don't see a lot of the pieces that they can move besides THC, Taylor Horton Tucker. But yeah, what you gonna do? Now to get into the NFL. Da, 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 da. You know that song, that joint. My fault. I'll stop. But they're in the playoffs right now. All right. Now, as some of you may know, I'm a Cowboys fan. It's okay. We still got money. We lost, but we still got money. So who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I was never the nigga that was saying that we were going to the Super Bowl. I made a bet that we were going to get out the first round. We did not. We did not get out the first round. However, 49ers are a pretty good team. We scored more on them than the Packers did. And that's the MVP, you feel me? So, they got the best receiver in football, right? I couldn't tell. But, yeah, no, shout out the 49ers for doing that. I think there's a lot of hate going out for Jimmy G. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I feel as though he is probably Baker Mayfield could be a little bit better than Jimmy G, but not a lot better. That's basically the level I put Jimmy G and Baker Mayfield. They're good quarterbacks, but the team's not really winning because of them. The teams are winning with them, in my opinion. Uh if I had to say, like, the people I picked to be winning a lot of these playoff games would not win. Like, let me see. I think what happened is that in the in the wild card games, right? I figured the Bengals would win against the Raiders. I thought it was a 7-point game. I thought it might be a little bit closer. I figured the Bills were going to win against the Patriots. Patriots ended kind of bad. Buccaneers against the Eagles, obviously. We're not going to talk about that Cowboys game. Steelers and Chiefs. Thought the Chiefs would win. The Steelers did put up a pretty interesting fight in the first half. I was surprised. Or not first half, first quarter when they both scored. I was interested. TJ Watt was getting in there. And then the wild card round, I did think the Rams are going to win. The divisional round is where a lot of upsets happened, and I lost, I think, almost every single thing, except the Bills and Chiefs and the Rams and Buccaneers. Rams and Buccaneers, that was crazy. But the Bengals and Titans won. I figured the Titans would win because Derrick Henry would be coming back. And they still had pretty good running game, even without him. They didn't prioritize running the ball. Enough said and done. 49ers and Packers, I thought Packers would win. I didn't watch this game completely. I watched up to the first half. I was all like, Aaron Rodgers be able to close it out. I woke up 4 a.m. I was like, yeah, let me just make sure the Packers won. Packers lost. I ended up seeing that Aaron Rodgers had an open throw, and he could have gotten into like two other people, at least one other, if not two other. But he chose to throw it to Devontae Adams, and he was in double coverage. That's not a smart play, and that is partially the reason why they lost. Now he might be leaving. I never really liked it when players left, and it was like kind of their fault why the team hasn't been doing so good. Shout out Dame. I can talk about that more in a different episode, but Dame Lillard, I'm looking at you. Everybody's saying that you should leave. I'm not one of those people saying that. I'm just gonna let your ass know right now. I'm not one of them niggas. But Bengals and Chiefs, or not my fault. Bills and Chiefs. I didn't get to watch that game. I might have to rewatch it. Apparently, it was like the best football game ever. Rams and Buccaneers, I saw a part of it when the Rams went up by like 28, and it was a 3-point game. 27-3. And then the Buccaneers literally almost came back. It was crazy. It was legitimately crazy. Like, a lot of mistakes and luck. And Tom Brady gets a lot of those. That's crazy. I mean, I guess he capitalizes on it, but like, just like break after break to launch that fucking comeback, that's crazy to me. But yeah. That's what's happened in the NFL for the past few weeks. Whatnot. Now we're gonna be having the conference championships in a few days. Bengals and Chiefs, as well as 49ers and Rams. After that's the Pro Bowl. I don't really ever watch that. And then Super Bowl. Now, if I'm gonna sit here and make my predictions now, I think it's gonna be Chiefs and Rams in that Super Bowl. However, I like that nigga Joe Burrow as a there's some players who I just look at them and be like, I like them niggas. I saw Joe Burrow smoking a cigar and I was like, I like that nigga. Like going into his rookie season, I saw that shit. I was like, this nigga's cool. He a cool guy. I hope he does well. So I would love to see the Bengals beat the Chiefs. Do I believe it's going to happen? No. I kind of want the Rams to win because I kind of like the narrative of Matthew Stafford. But then I watched this one YouTube series by a guy named Tom Grossi. He's a great YouTuber. Definitely recommend watching his series if you like football and stuff like that. He has a lot of good posts. I was watching his YouTube series. It was like NFC, and I'll be honest, the series he had before this one is one of the reasons why I decided to start watching football a little bit more this year. It was like AFC slash the AFC slash NFC West Saga. Great YouTube series. Definitely recommend it. And the villain ends up being the Rams fan. Sorry for the spoilers. So now I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of want the 49ers to win too. But we'll see. We'll see. Just for the sake of the series and the lore, you know? But, yeah. Think that's enough for sports. So let's talk about something a little bit more fun. All right? Y'all hear about that Drake situation? He's getting sued, or I don't know if he was actually getting sued, but apparently there was a lawsuit made for him putting hot sauce inside of his condom and it hurt a girl. Now, I don't get it. There was apparently this, I just see Drake is for some reason getting shamed and sued. I don't know why this nigga's getting shamed, but what had happened is that he was off doing his little certified lover boy escapades, you know, and he was fucking with an IG model, you feel me? And the what he did is that after he was done, he obviously used protection. And to certify the protection a little bit more, he put a little hot sauce in there. Now I don't know if that kills sperm. However, there has been a good amount of like stories about women who would go find a used condom, impregnate themselves, and even though they did that, they would still get child support. I think that's wild. There's stories where a woman will go to a sperm bank, get that, find the person, and will still get child support. That's even wilder to me. That would like I would never want to donate sperm at that point. But yeah, it was like they started DMing each other. No one knows if Drake approached her or she approached him or whatever. They thought, put the hot sauce in there. She ended up like burning her ussy linings. I think I don't know. And she was like, all right. So the official word is she fished out the condom out the trash, untied it, so it was tied too. Put the opening end into her Virginia. And she said it felt like she like pouring hot lava into her. Let's see. I'm gonna find a better word for that. Panini. I'm also gonna be putting these clips on YouTube, so I gotta censor myself a little bit now. I'm sorry. Shout out y'all niggas who remember the wild times, you know. I might not even do clips, but you know I should. Ew. Um. Now Drake quote unquote addressed it. Where he did an Instagram post where he was all like, "You can have your 15 minutes of fame. I'll take the other 23 hours and 45 minutes," insinuating that she was just out for her 15. I don't. Now look, I don't think anybody was on the Instagram model side for this. I don't think anybody should be on the Instagram model side for this. Like, how wild. But at least she'll learn. Like that's the shit. That's the shit that I approve of in the sense of she'll learn not to fucking do that shit again. Hopefully, especially since this news went public, a lot of other niggas gonna be like, so you don't say. Cause I don't know the validity of how much hot. Like she just get a spicy baby. You feel me? Oof! Imagine that shit coming out. You still got a little bit of hot sauce in there. Ugh. It just grows with the baby. Baby ends up turning extra red. Nigga looks like a pepper. Shit wild, bro. But you always now y'all niggas know, bro. If you get rich and famous, always keep that Texas Pete on you. You feel me? Before you hit it, bro, make sure you go to Popeyes and you get that hot sauce. You feel me? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't blame him. Can't blame him for that. He did what he had to do to protect himself. He already had a baby with another girl, an actress, as some would say. So I don't blame him for doing this. I don't know exactly what that actress did or whatnot, but after that, moving on. I guess another thing that we can talk about. Well, let's look first. News. Typing in news to Google. 10 people injured after snow-covered bridge collapses in Pittsburgh. Oh, we might get a war in Russia. How you guys feeling about that one? Huh? Hey, I've been saying it for a while. All right, we've created such a huge bubble in the stock market. All right, this stock cap on. All right, there's been such a huge bubble ever since the pandemic started, and you see a lot of the market has been like doing kind of bad. It's starting to recover now, which actually tends to happen around the time that the Chinese New Year's is coming to the end, which is the Chinese New Year's is on February 1st. So there's a lot of stuff reclaiming some of its glories, but obviously it's not going to reach the heights that it had reached earlier. We were having issues just coming together to do what we wanted for um my fault. I saw something about student loan debt being not worth it, and depends on your career for that one, and how smart you are in the sense of how you organize your shit. But honestly, if I had to say, hmm, I don't know. Like with the way the bubble and everything has kind of built up within the stock market, there has been like reason to believe, and the fact that I think we have now gotten a new debt ceiling and whatnot. But then I was saying, bro, every time America was having financial issues, we got into a war, or we started doing some warlike things. We are literally we are facing a possibility of another depression. So especially since unemployment has not been well for many. During the time, the reason why people were even flooding to the unemployment is because the government did not give out stimuluses in a adequate amount of time. Um, Even the amount of stimuluses that they gave was a lot lower than what many countries were doing. So it put people in a pretty bad place. A lot of people ended up losing houses, places that they're renting just because they weren't able to pay. There's also been issues in the sense of the way Airbnb has kind of taken up the market. A lot of places have decided not to to continuously rent out to people, but rather hold their places for Airbnb instead, especially if you're one of those people in places like who own places in Miami, Cali, just a lot of or just Florida in general, not just Miami. Miami is a hot spot. Just places that people are gonna really want to visit. New York has also had some problems with that, and the fact that the pandemic has not really gotten better, but in many respects gotten worse. With the new variants that's coming out, in my opinion, the booster isn't very effective on the newer variant, which makes sense. They had started the development for it before the Omicron variant had even came out. So that's leading into some vaccine hesitancy in many people. Um, my opinion on the vaccine, if you want me to be completely honest, it's your choice. However, if you're not gonna get it, I'm gonna be the first person to say that you're kind of dumb if you're gonna be continuously going out, doing all this party nonsense, doing this, doing that, going down to Miami, going up to New York, trying to have fun. I think that's dumb. You already know what the state of it, how the state of everything is. If you're just going to be, if you're more of a homebody, you're gonna be at home. You're not really gonna be going out except when you really need to, or like just few times and everything. I don't think it's much of an issue, especially if you're in the younger age group. The people who are less likely to be really affected by it, just continue taking your test, making sure that you're not positive and you're not spreading it around, and you'll be good. Honestly, I think that's more effective than just the false hope that the vaccine is continuously to bring. There's a lot of dangers that come with that. I don't know if I've really explored, and like people are just gonna be like, "Oh no, you just don't like a vaccine." No, there's like, I'm pretty sure I've talked about false hope a lot. There's a lot of people who've talked about false hope, whether it has to do with airline security and the TSA, or a lot of other things. And yes, a sense of hope does or protection does help, but I don't fully agree with the aspect of it necessarily. I don't think that like obviously while there are booster shots for flus, people aren't taking that yearly. So while people are making the argument that the flu gets boosters, when was the last time that many of you guys gotten a flu boosters? Shit, dog. I knew people who had to get other shots because they hadn't gotten the shots that they needed in order just so they could graduate from college. You feel me? So it's like there's a lot of people who are missing other shots talking about this, and it's like there's a lack of consistency between all sides of this argument. The people who aren't taking it aren't some heroes. I've never claimed Kyrie was a hero. I'm saying he's doing what he's doing. People who are taking it aren't some heroes either. They're just doing it so they can do what they want, and that's where the balance of it comes from. You're doing it to basically for your own beliefs. Can't get mad at other people unless they are actively spreading it and doing bad things. A lot of people just don't want another shutdown, and that's fine. That's a good enough reason, in my opinion. But a lot of people want to go out. There was higher signs of depression because the what the lockdown ended up leading to was a higher look into social media, and people were just doing that because they couldn't really go outside as much. Um, there's a lot of issues. However, but if you keep in mind, one of the issues with the lockdown and shutdown was that it wasn't really a complete one. There was still people flying out, doing things that they wanted to do instead of doing what was best for people. And that was like why the lockdown not only lasted longer, but wasn't as successful as it could have been. There was just a lot of factors that went into it. I'm not gonna lie and say that I was always inside during those lockdowns. I had also done some of my own stuff,
Alright, what's
went
going
hung
on,
out
guys?
with people. I don't think I was ever in a space with like more than 15 people at most. Maybe some family gatherings like birthdays. That had ended up happening, but it was like it was nothing I could do. It was at my house. You feel me? I never did that for mine, but I know a few people definitely had that issue. Um, I want to say moving on from there. Biden says he'll name a black woman as Supreme Court pick by the end of February. I have to say this. Um, the idea that just because someone is a black woman, just because someone is a white man, just because someone is a black man, just because someone is a white woman, that there will be some huge change within the way politics is done is not correct. I like AOC, Alexandria Cortez. I like her. I like some of her policies. I like some of the things that she believes in. However, there's also been many factors where it's like the things that she believes in has also conflicted with her things that she wants to do in personal interest. I forgot what it was, but she had went to this one event instead of going to don't doing some other thing that was going on today. It was like some famous people event, having fun and whatnot. And look, I don't completely ding her for going. However, you cannot always be promoting an eat the rich mentality. But once you are closer to being the rich, not really go off those same principles. And that's where my issue comes with that. I think at the end of the day, what a majority of people have to do, we have to, number one, I think, decrease the age of where you have to be elected from a lot of the positions, because I think that the age limit is kind of dumb, because we're electing these older people who are just out of touch. If you look at any of the hearings or stuff that Facebook or Amazon, these are legitimately monopolies that are going on. Legitimate tech empires that are creating monopolies on various things. Even Disney. Dog, the fact that I want to say 20, maybe a little 25, 30 years ago, there was over 30 different like telecommunications being ran by different things, but now 6 companies own all the news, telecommunications, all of that is wild. That should not be a thing. That is literally against the idea of free market. Even cable companies, when they were first when they first came out, there was just a larger amount, and then they started working up the politicians, and they started fucking limiting the amount of towers that could go up, the amount of people who could have those wirings up, and now we don't have as many cable companies as we used to. That is affecting the free market. That is affecting the ability for multiple people to enter businesses and be able to go up from there. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it is just a lack of knowledge for a lot of them. I don't think a lot of them are deserving to be in their position. I think a lot of them are just in those positions because that's all we know. There's been a heavy degree of leaning on just voting Democrat or Republican. I don't think that's right either. I don't think that ever just having a necessarily two-party system is ever going to really work in our favor. We're never really going to get stuff done, as you can already see. We barely ever get shit figured out or stuff done. I think the military spending should go down because a majority of that has been taken out of public schools. Teachers have been literally rioting for as long as I could fucking remember. I feel as though there was like teacher protests since I was in elementary school because of the lack of pay, the lack of supplies, all of that. I think I saw a YouTube clip where some ice skating place, I don't know if it was like a place where one of the NHL teams practiced, but they literally were doing a fundraiser for teachers in order for them to have money for their classroom supplies, where they just had a pool of money, placed it at the center of the rink, and teachers had to go and quote unquote fight for that. Try and get as much money as they could for their supplies. Teachers were putting it in their shirts. I don't think that should really ever be a thing. That's funny, that's cool, whatever. I don't think that should be a thing. I think that most schools should have the ability to have supplies. I also think that there should be a little bit more uniformity between schools, in the sense of like, textbooks in Texas should not be calling slaves indentured servants. Those were completely different niggas, and entirely. And it should not be like lessering it. There should also be a little bit more exploration on blacks, Hispanic, like more people who did things in society. Because I feel as though we do kind of skip over a large portion of that. and we just jump to whatever the fuck. And I feel as though that people who are less important get more notoriety from that than people who are more important and should get more notoriety. In and of itself. I guess we can talk about this CNBC article. Majority of borrowers say taking on federal student loan debt is not worth it. CNBC surveys finds. Now, while I do agree that for a significant amount of people, taking on federal student loan debt is not a lot, or not is not the best thing that they could do. I do also have to say that some of the people who do it don't give a fuck. Some of y'all niggas, I'm a college student too, so I know. Some of y'all niggas are not putting yourselves in the best positions. I have not always put myself in the best position. Honestly, if I put myself in the best position with the credits that I came in from high school, I could have graduated early. Honestly, if I put myself in the best position, even when I was in high school, shit, I could have graduated in 3 years. Honestly, some of the choices that you make will end up leading you to suffering at the end. Unfortunately, that is what life is. So you got to keep in mind some of the things that people are graduating college with is not going to be something that is going to be automatically profitable. A lot of the tech sector jobs will be automatically profitable. Unfortunately, there's a lot of those engineering jobs or engineering majors that either don't have the best departments, don't have the best teachers, whatever, and that will make students end up taking extra years, make students end up changing their majors at times where it's like you're changing your major now is going to add 1, maybe 2 years onto your schedule. And it's like a lot of it just isn't like great for people. So it's like, and when the fact that I don't think the college should cost this much. If I'm being completely honest, I think college should be managed a little. Like the cost of college should be lowered a little bit because these are the people who you want in a good up in the better portion of the workforce. Not to say that people who don't graduate college are in a worse or worse. However, coming a degree, a certification, all of that gives you more levels of expertise. And some of the majors that people choose are not fit for that. I would argue that a community college role and then creating a portfolio would be better for some of the things that people do. However, or even going into trade schools or specialty colleges. However, some people don't do, or a large amount of people end up not doing that. Whether it's because of honestly that it's more socially acceptable to push people to say that college is the number one thing, it's the only important thing, that's what people should be focused on, college. I've never been fully in agreement to that. A lot of people I'd recommend for them to do their 2 years in community colleges just because it's cheaper. Some people don't like going into a 4-year college. Being undecided can be a huge issue. For example, if you go in undecided and you're not able to find that you want to do engineering quick enough, the amount of classes that you would have that they kind of push you into just as a freshman doing engineering means that if you're not done with some of those classes, you're going to be late automatically if you don't finish it at a timely manner. Those beginner starting classes, that's how bad it is for some people. Um Loan repayments did hit a pause when 2020 happened. Yet, when the federal loan repayments resumed, 1/3 or more borrowers surveyed said that they'll have to delay other financial goals, such as paying off other debts, investing money, saving for retirement, or buying a home. Now, I do have issues with some of those. I do believe, to some extent, I do believe a majority of people should invest their money. I feel as though saving for retirement and investing money should go hand in hand. Buying a home and investing money kind of goes hand in hand as well. And I also believe that some people get in their mind too early of trying to do some of these things, such as saving for retirement and buying a home. And there's also people who, and because of that, they end up doing too much too soon and not being ready for it. And that is saving for retirement, buying a home, or getting new cars, always trading in their cars for new ones, never really fully paying off a car. Stuff like that. And it's like some of it you have to sit there and be like, that's your fault. Me personally, my plan is to do this. I want to pay off my student loan debt by the time I hit 30. I plan to be living with people till 25, 26. Like just living with a group of friends, unless I really just like explode money wise. And even if I do explode money wise, I'm not going to be buying a full house. I plan to get maybe a townhouse. Just teching it up, doing that. I don't believe in just splurging immediately. Just because I graduated doesn't mean that there's other things that going to be in my mind, other things that I want to do, other things that have more precedent. I would love to. I feel as though that even if my loans hit, let me just do the math real quick. If my loans hit 100,000, right? If I divide that for 5 years, that would be 20,000 a year. If I just try and get that knocked out in 5 years. Now, this is obviously adding in the possibility for interest because I don't think I'm going to have 100K worth of loans. I'm almost done with college. So I don't think I'm going to have 100K worth. But assuming saying that interest ends up knocking it to 100K, the job that I'm looking for is going to be paying between 80 and 120K a year. With tax, let's assume 100K a year for my job, right? With taxes, I would say that you're paying like 18,000 in taxes. So let's say I'm getting like 75K of just pure money after taxes, right? To pay after that, to pay the whatever, I have to pay 20K a year. So I take that off. I'm down to 55,000 a year. That is around average. Like I need people to understand this. That is around the average for not just for one person, for households in America. The average is around 55K. So with that 55K, you also, let's say you're paying, I already said I'm gonna be living with people, but let's just say I'm paying 1,250 a year for rent. Now that's a amount of rent that I would be paying if I'm not living with anybody. So, but let's see, 1,250 times 12, 15K. Take that out of the 5,500. Let's say I had 5,500. Y'all probably didn't think it was going to be a mathy episode, neither did I. But this is just something I've always thought about. I still have 40K left. Let's say, out of anything, I do feel like I'm going to end up giving like a majority up to my mom and stuff in order for her to be able to live and pay a lot of her stuff. So I'm also gonna extract another 18,000 out of that. Not everybody has to do this, but that's just what's gonna end up being my lifestyle. But let's say I subtract another 18,000. So now that I'm left with 22,000. Now I'd also like to pay off a car as soon as possible. So let's just say that 680. I'm going off like a high. This would be a high estimate for a car too. So 680 times 12, 8,160. So let's say I take 10K out for car. I'm still left with 12K. Now, keep in mind this is a high estimate because you're assuming that I'm also in this estimate. I'm assuming that I'm gonna get a 100K a year job, but I still have 12K left. I did high estimates for almost every thing, giving 18K, putting that back at home, 12, all that, and I still end up with 12K for just whatever I want to do money. So we could say that, okay, instead of earning 100K, what's 100K minus 12K? That's like 80. Oh wait, I don't even think I started off with 100K because I think I started off with 75 because of taxes and everything too. So that was even a low estimate for if I did start off with 100K. But literally, I still feel as though as long as you like plan things right and everything, let's say you lose 2,000 of it because of, well, I don't think I actually did factor in groceries, plus other stuff. I'll put in 5,000 for that. So let's say we're left with like 6,000, right? You're still left with 6,000 a year. You could invest that. That's good enough. You could pay off. And just having this plan, you could pay off 100K worth of loans in 5 years with extra money to spend on other things. Now, I also said that I'd be living with people. So I don't see myself paying $1,250 a month in rent. Right? I don't have an issue with living with people as long as I know them, everything's good. As long as everything's good, I don't have an issue. For the most part, I would like to live with people. For until I'm 25. I feel as though after 25 will be like when I'm really going to be like looking around, seeing whether or not I want to settle down and do all that stuff. 25, 26, right? So I don't see an issue with that. As long as everybody has their own space, I think that that isn't a bad plan to have. After that, that's what I'm saying. I can't fully subscribe on some of the ideals that some of the people in my generation have in terms of this, but I do understand that the amount of interest that is on student loans, that especially the ones that you're giving to people at a young age, I don't see. I understand where the issue lies because while I did do a 75K a year after taxes salary, it is still immensely. That's still not an average for Americans, and that's not even like it's hard to say that's an average for households too. I want to say that's might be closer to the average for a household, but that would be before taxes. So that's what I'm saying. I won't have to worry as much because of the knowledge that I picked up along the way, whether from already starting my investing and learning how to invest in the market, from already understanding loans to a degree from already doing other things. However, I can also realize that that is not what a majority of people have seen or dealt with. So then you have to decide. There are some people, and they don't realize this, that a majority of this you should be paying. Not only should you be paying above your monthly or yearly loan rates, but you should be trying to pay down the principal as much as possible. And you should be indicating that those are payments that you're making towards the principal for in some cases. Because I know for some of the housing stuff that if you don't let them know that you're paying off the principal, I think there's like on the form, there's something that you're supposed to check off that you want the rest of the payment that you're sending to go to the principal. They won't take it out the principal. And that is a big issue that some people have. So, and then there's also people who are lackadaisical when they're in college and everything. And I have to say that I'm one of them. Because of that, their debt and loans end up growing to exponential rates. So while I can sit here and say that colleges shouldn't be as expensive as they are, I don't even think that, because during COVID, many colleges raised tuition. I don't think that there was a reason for a majority of colleges to raise tuition when there was a lot of things that they were also going to be saving on because of COVID, whether that is lights bill, that is lighting, plumbing, all these other things that they didn't have to worry about because there were going to be less students on campus. There was it just didn't make sense to me, and that's what I can note. Also, while people are getting those COVID check things, you got to keep in mind a lot of students were also not getting the other checks. They weren't getting the, what is that shit called? Stimuluses, because they just didn't qualify. I think they some more students end up being able to qualify for the last check before a majority of the other ones they weren't able to qualify. But I am running a little bit over time, so I'm just gonna end it here, man. Like, oh, I think back. We're gonna be just talking. We just chat. We're not just chatting. We're just talking. All right. So join me for the next episode, whenever that may be. And doc, double nah, whatever y'all nigga wanna call me. I'm out, my niggas. Oh, I not, but I'm about to take out all the niggas. Later.